When we talk about leadership in civil rights movements, we often talk about adults. We give talks about the likes of Susan B. Anthony from Rochester, New York. She worked for decades to change the laws so women could vote. She was arrested in 1872 for voting in a presidential election.
We talk about the work of Mohandas Gandhi, who was assassinated while trying to bring independence to India and improve relations between Muslims and Hindus. We also look to the triumphs of Rosa Parks, whose arrest for refusing to give up her seat on a bus for a white person sparked the Montgomery bus boycott and helped to launch a national civil rights movement.
However, given our audience this afternoon and the dedication of this civil rights season to Malala, we would like to talk about some of the work done by young people in this country and around the world.
Young people have been involved in social movements throughout history. In Lawrence, Massachusetts in 1912, 14-year-old Camilla Tioli was one of 30,000 textile workers who took part in one of the largest labor uprisings in this country's history. Camilla testified before Congress about the working conditions in the factory. She told Congress about the gruesome injuries she received when her hair was caught in one of the machines.
When asked why she joined the strike, she replied, "Because I didn't get enough at home to eat." Her testimony was heard by the First Lady, Mrs. Helen Taft, who was moved by Camilla's story. Her testimony helped the workers win their strike.
On May 2nd, 1963, in Birmingham, Alabama, over 1,000 children left their classes to join protests in the streets. Birmingham was one of the most racially segregated cities in the country. The chief of police, Bull Connor, ordered that fire hoses be used to stop the children from marching. Other students were attacked by dogs at Connor's command.
This photograph of 17-year-old Walter Gadsden being attacked by one of Connor's dogs appeared in newspapers around the world. Historians have noted that public opinion began to swing in favor of the civil rights movement after this picture. This picture became one of the most famous images of the civil rights movement. The nation watched as children were jailed, harassed, and attacked. Martin Luther King Jr. told parents not to worry about their children, for they were, quote, not only doing a job for themselves, but for all of America and for all of mankind.
After the collapse of a textile factory killed over 1,100 workers in Bangladesh in 2013, young people joined the mass demonstrations against working conditions and low pay. Many young people are employed in these factories that make clothing for Walmart, Gap, Macy's, and many others. Much of the clothing in this room today was likely made in factories like theirs. Their protests have brought higher wages, but life is still very hard and dangerous for them.
At the age of 15, Joshua Wong co-founded Scholarism, a group whose purpose was to protest the inclusion of Chinese government-directed teachings in Hong Kong's school system. His masterful use of Twitter, Facebook, and Fire Chat helped him recruit thousands of young people to the cause.
As a result of Wong's efforts, Hong Kong's government backed down on their plans to change the education system. Wong also became involved in Hong Kong's pro-democracy movement and helped to create the Umbrella Movement, so named because protesters used umbrellas to defend themselves against tear gas. A Hong Kong official reported that people in the city were leaving, not because of the communist government, but because they were afraid of the student protesters.
Upon hearing this, Wong turned to the sawed-off shotgun of the digital age, also known as Twitter, and fired back. He told those leaving that they can, quote, move to a place without the Communist Party, but they cannot move to a place without young people.
That's terrifying. This past December, basketball players around the country began wearing "I Can't Breathe" t-shirts to protest the police treatment of Eric Garner, a Staten Island man who died after being placed in a chokehold by a police officer. A video of the incident captured Garner's last words, "I can't breathe," and sparked protests across the country.
The boys and girls basketball teams at Mendocino High School on the north coast of California began wearing the t-shirts during pre-game warm-ups. Both teams were slated to play in a tournament at Fort Bragg High School, but the school told them they would not be allowed to play if they wore those shirts. Fort Bragg officials said they were worried about public safety.
Many of the basketball players protested. All but one member of the boys' team, Connor Woods, pictured here on the right, agreed not to wear the shirts and played in the tournament. Connor did not play. The girls' team said they would not play if they were not allowed to wear their "I Can't Breathe" t-shirts.
After the students' protest drew intense media coverage, Fort Bragg relented and said that the girls could wear the shirts, but the decision didn't come in time for them to make it to the tournament. The girls' team attended to the tournament while wearing their "I Can't Breathe" shirts and cheered for the boys' team.
These are just a few examples of the change that happens when young people get involved. Our theme this year of Finding Your Voice isn't just our wish for you, it's a necessity. Humanity's future depends on it. You must find your voice, because if you don't, change won't happen.
We don't have to wait to be adults to make a difference. We just have to care.